Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new to the channel, welcome to Larry's House of Hockey. So we're up to 1994 in the memorable series playlist. Now there were a couple of series that I was looking at that I thought I could really take a look at, that I could really dive into. And I mean, they were both fantastic series. I had to pick one, so I ended up picking the series that featured these guys. So as I move this forward here, so we had a couple of changes. We had some changes that took place. 1993 was the last year of the traditional divisional playoffs, and we went to the 1-versus-8 format, where it was the top 8 teams in each conference. It was number one. It was number 1 plays number 8, number 2 versus number 7, number 3 versus number 6, and number 4 versus number 5. You take the obviously top 8 teams in the conference, and that's how the matchups would go. So we went from the divisional format to the conference quarterfinals, conference semifinals, conference finals, and then Stanley Cup final. So we have here the 1994 Western Conference quarterfinal. And of course, this was when Detroit was in the West. It was in the now known as the Western Conference, what was known as the Campbell Conference, because everything, when they changed that around, they changed everything. They changed the conference names, and they went all geographical. The Clarence Campbell Conference became the Western Conference. The Prince of Wales Conference became the Eastern Conference. And of course, you had the divisions all change their names. We're no longer the Norris, Smythe, Adams, and Patrick division. We're now the Central, the Central, the Northeast, the Atlantic, Pacific. So all those the typical geographical division names. So here we are in the Western Conference quarterfinal. And this was, without a doubt, one of the biggest kind of upsets that I think anybody had ever seen. Because this was San Jose's first trip to the Stanley Cup playoffs. They were not a very good team. Especially their first couple years, they were not a very good team. They didn't exactly have a record that was, lighting up that was lighting up the league either in this one. So we're still playing it. We're still playing 84 games with the 2 neutral site games for each team. And the San Jose Sharks finished with a record of 33, 35, and 16 for 82 points. So nothing that really anybody's writing home about there. Obviously, the number 8 seed in the Western Conference. They are playing the team that was the number 1 seed, the Detroit Red Wings. 84 games, a record of 46, 30, and 8 for 100 points on the nose. And this is the time where Detroit is finally starting to look like a team that could contend. And they were, this was a really good team. They started really kind of getting their bearings under them. They end up with a lot of the talent that's on this team here is on the team when they finally do win the Stanley Cup in 1997 and then again in 1998. But this series was it was a shocker. It was a shock result for sure. And what do you say we get into it? So we get into game 1. And San Jose kind of sets the tone here in game one. In the first period, San Jose gets on the board first. It's Sean Cronin from Pat Falloon and Bob Airy. Pat Falloon, such a great name. Such just a fantastic name. Always love that name, Pat Falloon. Falloon gets an assist on the first ever goal ever scored in San Jose Shark playoff history. Puts the Sharks on the board 1-0 at 12:55. Then at 15:28, they go up 2-0. Now, the guy who scores this goal would become an integral player on this very Detroit Red Wings team that would win back-to-back Stanley Cups. At 15:28 to make it 2-0, it is Igor Larionov from Johan Garpenlov and Sandis Ozolin. Another great name, Johan Garpenlov. Love that name. Such a cool name. And also, I might add, these jerseys that San Jose came in with, these jerseys here, absolutely fabulous. One of the best-selling jerseys, an incredible jersey. The Pacific Teal is just, come on. Is this a thing of beauty or what? Absolutely tremendous. So, San Jose, they're up 2-0 here. Then they go up 3-0. On the power play at 17:03, it is Sergei Makarov from Jeff Norton and Igor Larionov. 3-0 San Jose. So San Jose comes out in this first period of game one and just Detroit is like, wait, what is going on here? But after the first period, yeah, Detroit is just stunned. They're just like, what? Like, we can't figure out what the heck is going on here. Also, too, I learned as I was going through this, this was the 2-3-2 format. Detroit decided to have game 6 and game 7 be on home ice. I had forgotten they were still doing the 2-3-2 format, but I think they were given the choice. I think the team was given the choice of doing the 2-3-2 format, and yeah, it was interesting not realizing that they, as I was going through this on Hockey Reference, that I was like, oh, they were still doing the 2-3-2. So, but back here to game one. So the first period ends. It's 3-0 San Jose. And just shock. Just like, what in the world? But in the second period, Detroit, they claw back into it. At 2:24 on the power play, it is Steve Chason from Sergei Fedorov and Mark Howe. Yes, that Mark Howe, whose father, legendary Detroit Red Wing, Gordie Howe. So that makes it 3-1. Then at 17:40 to make it 3-2, it is Sheldon Kennedy from Darren McCarty and arguably one of the toughest men to ever put on a pair of skates, Bob Probert. So the second period ends. Detroit claws back from a 3-0 deficit to get it within one at 3-2. Then, in the third period, at a minute 34, the Red Wings tie the game. It is Darren McCarty from Steve Chason, 3-3. So the Wings have come back from a 3-0 deficit to tie the series, or to tie the game at 3 apiece. But at 4:42 of the third period, what ends up, the Sharks take the lead back. It is Jamie Baker from Ryan Whitney and Jason Moore. 4-3 Sharks. Then, on the power play at 6:01, the Red Wings tie the game again. It is Greg Johnson from Paul Coffey and Nicholas Lidstrom. 4-4 tie in the third period. So Detroit falling behind 3-0. They get back, they tie the game, they go behind again, they tie the game again. But then at 15:36 to make it 5-4, the game-winning goal. Looking at the name, I literally was like, how the heck do you pronounce his first name? Like Vyacheslav something. Starts with the first letters V. Krupa. Interesting name. From Todd Ellick to basically, it's basically the game-winning goal. The Sharks then hold on for the 5-4 win, and the Sharks go in. They steal home ice. Now the goaltenders for San Jose. Arturs Urbe. There's a great name. Very, very, not a very tall goaltender either. What was he, like 5'2"? I mean, he was not a very tall goaltender at all. But he had a pretty good game here. He stopped 33 of 37 shots for an .892 save percentage. And in net for Detroit was Bob Essenza. He stopped 19 of 24 for a .792 save percentage. So, Detroit, home ice advantage, number 1 seed in the West. They fall behind 1-0 to this upstart Shark team that really nobody's expecting anything of them. Sometimes those are the worst teams to end up playing because what do they got to lose, right? So we get into game 2. Well, Detroit kind of makes a statement in this game. There's no score in the first period, but in the second period, at 46 seconds into the second period, it is Sean Burr from Chris Draper, 1-0 Detroit, and that's the only goal of the second period. So there's no scoring in the first period, only the one goal in the second period. So we get into the third period, and then at 2:32, the Wings go up by 2. It is Bob Probert from Sheldon Kennedy and Darren McCarty. 2-0 Red Wings. And then at 5:07, a Hall of Fame player. I do not remember if he ever got a Stanley Cup, and honestly, if he never actually won the Stanley Cup in his career, criminal. Absolutely criminal, because this player was phenomenal. Dino Ciccarelli at 5:07 from Paul Coffey and Sergei Fedorov. 3-0 Red Wings. Then, on the power play at 6:43, it is Nicholas Lidstrom from Fedorov and Ciccarelli. 4-0 Detroit. That is your final. Detroit ties the series. Now, Arturs Urbe he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't that great either. I mean, he allowed 4 goals. He stopped 24 of 28 for an .857 save percentage. And after Bob Essenza kind of laid an egg in that first game, this pretty good young kid comes in and kind of started out pretty good. Chris Osgood stopping all 22 shots he faced for a shutout for the Red Wings. So the series is tied at 1 apiece. Now, we go to 3 straight home games for the San Jose Sharks. Game 3, Detroit, they take the lead in the series. At a minute 53 in, it is Darren McCarty from Sheldon Kennedy, 1-0 Detroit. Then, at 12:53, Dino Ciccarelli again gets back on the board from Fedorov and Vyacheslav Slava-Kozlov. 2-0 Red Wings. That is the score at the end of 1 in game 3. So we get into the second period. And on the power play at 17:14, it is Rob Gaudreau. I think Rob Gaudreau. I don't think he's related to now, unfortunately, the late Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. I don't think he's related. They're related, but Rob Gaudreau, 2-1 from Ulf Dahlen and Todd Peterson. It is 2-1 now. So the Sharks, they cut that lead in half, but that is basically pretty much as close as they were really going to get, because then at 19:31 of the second period, it is Burr from Draper and Chason, 3-1 Red Wings. Then in the third period on the power play, Sharks draw themselves a little closer, but this is as close as they get. At 19:28 on the power play, it is Makarov from Larionov and Peterson, 3-2. That is the final. The Red Wings win Game 3, 3-2. They take a 2-1 series lead. Chris Osgood stopped 22 of 24 for a .917 save percentage. Arturs Irbe stopped 27 of 30. So, the Red Wings, they lose that first game, they claw back, and they win the next two. Let's get into Game 4. Game 4, San Jose, they battle back and they keep the series close. But in the first period, Detroit gets on the board first. At 7:17, it is Dino Ciccarelli. Again, Dino Ciccarelli, man, he was a point magnet at this point of his career. From Fedorov and Kozlov, 1-0 Red Wings. Then at 10:21, it is Johnson for Detroit. From Keith Primo and Ray Shepard, 2-0 Red Wings. So you're thinking, okay, the Red Wings they're gonna put the hammer down. Now they're gonna put the hammer down and they're gonna put this series away. Well, not so much. It's 2-0 after the first period. We go into the second period, and shorthanded at 3:45, it is Peterson from Krupa and Gaetan Duchesne. 2-1 now in favor of Detroit. So the Sharks cut the lead in half. But Detroit, not long after that, they get that 2-goal lead back. Unassisted at 6:08, Chris Draper. 3-1 Red Wings. And again, this is another series I remember watching very intently. And, at the time, I'm like, I love the idea of underdogs. So yeah, it was fun watching this series. So the Red Wings are up 3-1. Then literally not even 2 minutes after the Red Wings make it 3-1, the Sharks draw within one again. It is Larionov from Ozolinsh and Jeff Norton, 3-2 now in favor of Detroit. Then on the power play at 11:55, the Sharks tie the game. Ulf Dahlen from Ray Whitney and Todd Ellick, 3-all tie. And that is how the second period ends. We got a 3-3 tie. Then, in the third period, San Jose, they get the winner here at 6:35. It is Makarov from Larionov and Ozolinsh. 4-3 San Jose. Of course, they kept Detroit off the scoreboard for the rest of the game. So, the Sharks tie the series at 2 apiece. Chris Osgood stopped 18 of 22 for an .818 save percentage, while Arturs Irbe stopped 21 of 24 for an .875 save percentage. So we got a tie series. It's 2 games apiece here. We're down to a best of 3 between a team that is expected to be a cup contender and a team that is basically just happy to be here. Nothing to lose. They're just happy to be here. So we get into Game 5. And San Jose comes out and they look really good in this game. At 2:47 on the power play of the first period, It is Makarov from Larionov and Garpenlov. A lot of ovs in there, you know. Sergei Makarov, Igor Larionov, Johan Garpenlov. A lot of offs in there. So 1-0 Sharks. Then at 8:34, it is Ellick from Gaetan Duchesne. 2-0 in favor of San Jose. But Detroit, doing what Detroit does, they cut the lead in half. At 13:31, unassisted, Paul Coffey. 2-1 Red Wings. Then at 14:13, the Red Wings tie the game. It is Shepard from Coffey and Yzerman. Stevie Y, the captain, ties the game at 2 apiece. And that's the end of the first period. So we get into the second period. And there's only 1 goal scored in the second period. At 18:45, it is Makarov from Larionov and Garpenlov. Again, got the Ov line here. That makes it 3-2 in favor of the San Jose Sharks after the second period. So we get into the third period. And at 2:08, the Sharks go up by 2. It is Dahlin from Ellick. 4-2 Sharks. Now, this is game 5 here. You can go, a chance to go up. A chance to go up 3-2 in a series here. So it's 4-2 in favor of the Sharks. But at 6:44, shorthanded, Nicholas Lidstrom from Steve Yzerman and Paul Coffey. 4-3 now in favor of the Sharks. But the Sharks, they get that 2-goal lead back. At 8:08, it is Garpenlov from Larionov and Ozelinch. 5-3 San Jose. But Detroit, they fight back again. They pull within 1. At 15:22, it is Lidstrom from Fedorov and Kozlov. 5-4 Sharks. Can Detroit get the game tied? No, unfortunately they cannot. Because at 16:43, it is Airy from Baker. 6-4 San Jose. San Jose takes a 3-2 lead in this series with a 6-4 win over the Detroit Red Wings. Chris Osgood only faced 2 shots. Stopped none of them. So he has a 0 save percentage. Bob Essenza comes in. He stops 15 and 19 for a 789 save percentage. So Osgood definitely not had a great game here. Essenza doesn't really do any better. Arturs Urbe stops 31 of 35 for an 886 save percentage. San Jose is up 3-2. Now, the series shifts back to Detroit. And Detroit, coming off that 6-4 loss, Detroit kind of came into this game and said, okay, we're going to show you what we're all about here. Because this game gets out of hand early. At 2:03, it is Fedorov from Kozlov, 1-0 Red Wings. Then at 15:20 on the power play, making it 2-0 Red Wings, it is Chason from Coffey. So 2-0. About 3/4 of the way into the second period, it's 2-0. Then at 16:33, it is Shepard from Primo and Yzerman. 3-0 Red Wings. Then, a little over, literally 23 seconds later, it is Kozlov from Cicerelli and Fedorov. 4-0 Red Wings. The Red Wings come out and they score 4 in the first period. So they have a 4-0 lead after 1 period. Then, into the second period. And, the beatings will continue until morale improves, right? Well, yeah, the beatings definitely continued in this game. 1:25 into the second period, it is Steve Yzerman from Lidstrom and Coffey. 5-0 Red Wings. San Jose, though, they try their darndest, At 4:04 on the power play, it is Dahlin from Peterson and Ellick. 5-1 in favor of the Red Wings. But Detroit, they put the kibosh on that. At 11:21, it is Cicarelli from Konstantinov and Kozlov's. Vladimir Konstantinov. Of course, we all know Vladimir Konstantinov would become a big member of the 1997 Red Wings and one of the main reasons why they won the Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, that night, I think it was that night, the awful limo accident that basically ended his career. And unfortunately, Konstantinov does not have his number hanging up in the rafters in Detroit. Always thought they should have done that. I still think they should do that. That's just me, though. So it is 6-1 Detroit after 2 periods. Then in the third period on the power play at 8:31, just to rub a little more salt in the wound, Dino Cicarelli from Chason and Johnson, 7-1 in favor of Detroit. And that's your final. A 7-1 butt kicking of the San Jose Sharks by the Detroit Red Wings to tie the series at 3 apiece. Arturs Irbe stopped 20 of 26 for a .769 save percentage. Not that great. Jimmy Waite then comes in. He stops 7 of 8 for an .875 save percentage. Chris Osgood had a fantastic game here. Stopped 22 of 23 for a .957 save percentage. We're going to Game 7 between a Cup favorite and a big-time upstart. So, we get into Game 7, and the shock happens. 47 seconds into the first period, it is Johan Garpenlov from Larionov and Oza Lynch. 1-0 Sharks. Then, at 13:59, it is Makarov from Larionov and Norton. 2-0 Sharks. This is the first period. The Sharks jump up 2-0, and it's like, and again, the crowd in Detroit's like, what the hell is going on here? But right before the period ends, 13 seconds before the period ends, shorthanded, unassisted, Chris Draper draws the Wings within 1. They cut that lead in half to 2-1. Then, second period, Detroit, they tie the game. At 2:36, it is Kozlov from Konstantinov and Johnson. 2-2. So it's 2-2 after 2 periods. And what's going to happen in the third? Well, at 13:25, the game-winning goal for San Jose is scored by Jamie Baker, unassisted. 3-2 in favor of San Jose. They hang on. They win Game 7 3-2, and they shock the Detroit Red Wings. Arturs Irbe stopped 28 of 30 for a .933 save percentage. Chris Osgood, 14 of 17 for an .824 save percentage. So, I mean, Detroit, they outshot them the whole way. They just, they got a couple in off of Irbe, but it was not enough. So San Jose, they win their first ever playoff series that they're in. They knock off the heavily favored Detroit Red Wings. And damnedest thing is, crazy enough, the Sharks, they almost got to the conference final. They went 7 games in that second round series against Toronto. They went 7 games, and they were up 3-2 in that series too. So, the Sharks were one of those teams. Nobody expected anything of them in '94, especially with their record. But man, when they got to the playoffs and they had nothing to lose, they shocked some people, and it was a shock, knocking out the Detroit Red Wings, the number 1 team in the Western Conference, And yeah, so the Sharks, they beat the Detroit Red Wings 4-3 in what was a fabulous series. And yeah, picking between this one and the other one that I was looking at was not an easy decision, because both of these series would have, I mean, the other series was a phenomenal series also. And yeah, so this just ended up being the series that I picked. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, let all your friends know about the channel. And you know, if they love hockey, tell them about the channel. Send them this way. And yeah, so let me know in the comment section. Also, if you'd like to share this video with your friends, with your family, with whoever you would like, this video or any other video from the channel, you can go ahead and share as much as you want. And yeah, 1995 should be an interesting. I'm trying to remember, what is the series that I had for 1995. Should be relatively interesting here. Oh yeah, I got two of them. I got two of them I could choose from in this one too. Just got to figure out which one do I want? Which one do I want to pick? Because again, there's two series I could pick for 1995 that were pretty darn good. So again, let me know in the comments section, what do you guys think of the 1994 Western Conference quarterfinal, the shocking upset of the Detroit Red Wings by the San Jose Sharks, 4-3. And yeah, this was the start of the 1-8 format. And it's interesting that to this day, how everybody wants to go back to the 1-8 format because, well, you don't see as many upsets. This was the first year of the 1-8 format, and number 8 beat number 1. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section. Hit like and subscribe. Share with friends and family. And I will see you guys again real soon.